Hello everybody and welcome to the 2021 Waco Annual Charity Open presented by Prodigy Discs. We're so excited to be out here today. My name is Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
Last year we were cut short. We only had 2 rounds at Brazos Park East, but this year we get to have all 3 rounds. We're very excited, but it is very windy, so it's going to be some interesting scores out there.
On the card we have Rebecca Cox, Sarah Hokom, Lydia Lyons, and Hailey King. It is very windy out there. Great sidearm course. Should be fun to watch Hailey and Hokom out there doing their thing. Thanks for having us, GK Pro. Excited to watch some disc golf. 2 hot geese coming at ya! Hole 1. Alright, so they cleaned up the middle gap a little bit and it's growing more and more, it seems like, on the right side, so you can either throw straight up the gut or a spike hyzer. Those walls right there, the OB line is actually off the wall, so they won't actually save you. Sidewalk left is OB as well. It's not the longest hole, but every hole out here is tough, and the Brazos River is just pushing a raging headwind at you, so it's really hard to throw something that doesn't just flip over to the right.
Super excited to watch Rebecca Cox attack a wooded course. It's half open, half wooded, but super fun to watch her throw her backhand that we all know and love so much. She underwent a form change in the last year. She struggled a little bit last year, but she's feeling really confident with it going into this year. She says she's finally starting to feel normal.
I mean, that looked really clean. It just, again, was a little right, a little turn. Hitting that tree is pretty common, but it should leave a relatively routine upshot. The OB is tight, though, so it can be scary.
Sarah Hokom going up the gut. It looks like it's turned over, but that is kind of the illusion of the hole. The hill on the green goes from left down to the right towards that out of bounds. So turning your disc over a little bit is perfect and let the wind push it back at the end.
Yeah, there's definitely more room on the left than it looks from the tee pad. I've only played with Lydia once, and it was years ago, so this will be fun to watch. She's going spiky hyzer route, calling for it to get left. Yeah, she just had that too flat out of her hand. She might have to re-tee. Yep, that's a rough start.
I feel like it's a fairly common start out here, though. It is, especially with that ripping headwind. You never really know what's going to happen when you're throwing that hyzer shot because big gusts could push you into those bushes so easily.
Yeah, that's why I prefer to stay low. I've only played this tournament one other time, and they did not have the middle cut down so much, so I like that it kind of promotes throwing that up the gut shot, and you have a better chance of crossing and bounce on the other side.
Even playing a bunch of practice rounds with Hailey, you never quite know when she's going to pull out the sidearm or when she's going to pull out the backhand. I would have guessed a sidearm there, but the backhand looks great. She'll have a long, just around circle 2 edge putt.
Yeah, birdie's nice here, but I mean, par is always a good score. You just want to get off clean to start the round. Good little upshot.
I checked some of the scores from last year to try to figure out. I always like to try to guess what the hot round's going to be during the first round of the event. And I was kind of projecting at a -4, and an even would be like a good score for the middle of the field. So we'll see what happens.
This one averaged 3.5, so smack dab in the middle. Not exactly a tweener under 300 feet, but a tough hole.
Only 3 birdies on the day, none of which we will see on this card. But like Erika said, a 3 is a great score on this hole. It's a good way to get started, and you are always happy with pars at the Beast. Lydia's got a super solid little putt.
Yeah, definitely had some force behind it.
I watched her putt a few times on a hole yesterday, and she just doesn't lose confidence. I'm excited to watch her play.
Maybe she has some tips. Would love some confidence.
Erika and Hailey tapping in, no problem.
Yeah. I'm here,
right?
I'm not there.
Rebecca and Hailey. Moving on to hole 2, the drone camera footage is brought to us by thediscbarn.com. The Disc Barn has a wide variety of Discraft and Discmania, but it also has a great selection of over 14 different brands. There's pictures of every disc on the website. Hole 2 is one of the few women's tee pads we have out here. It's a par 4, 531 feet. There is an OB sidewalk way down on the left that doesn't quite come into play until you get closer to the green where it wraps in, and there's an OB sidewalk on the right along the Brazos River. It's a very scenic hole, but also extremely windy, as any hole along the river is.
Without the wind, it's, you're licking your chops, looking at everyone in the field can birdie it. Again, you're fighting that headwind, and it's surprisingly easy to find that river, even though it's way off to the right. You can definitely birdie it in the wind, but you have to throw something so stable, nice and flat to get all the way up there.
Hokom decides to hug it up the left-hand side. She's playing with the sidewalk on the left, but there's room over there. There's lots of fairway trees, but in reality, there's a million different ways you can get to this basket pretty easily.
That was a force from Hailey, definitely higher than you want. She's likely just playing for par.
Yeah, if you show the underside of your disc at all, the wind really is going to take control.
Bye.
Smash, gets a nice little hyzer flip, full flight.
Yeah, she should be able to attack for the birdie from there.
This was the 4th most difficult hole of the day. I'm not surprised. You're at the beginning of the round. You're a little nervous. It's a ripping headwind. All the flags are making tons of noise. You just see that from Hailey. The average was a 4.47 for the field. Surprisingly, only 2 birdies on the field. I'm actually shocked to hear that.
I don't know, how this is happening to all of them, and it's flipping. I feel like, hole 1, yes, it's a headwind, but you're not throwing like a full power driver, and this is the first one where you have to rip it as hard as you can, and if you don't do it just right, that wind is gonna mess with it.
So it looks like we're seeing some ladies out here kind of shorting shots, playing a little nervy. Definitely none of these shots look like your typical confidence that you would see from Sarah or from Hailey or from Rebecca. It really does get in your head, especially at first. Even after all the field work we did at Las Vegas.
This looks nice. Get on up there. Nice-ish. Yeah, it'll be a scary putt in the wind. Wow, so scenic. What beautiful filming.
That was beautiful.
Go back. It should be just inside the circle.
Rebecca always looks like she's throwing her up shots really hard, but they're always perfect. Hokom taking it from where she went out of bounds. At this point, just trying to save a bogey.
Little bit of a tester with that wind.
Congrats to Lisa Fakis and Jessica Weiss on their 3s on the day. That's very impressive, especially after watching these ladies kind of struggle. Hailey hitting the cage, leaving it a little bit short, but with a really confident putting stroke.
Yeah, her putts always just come out hot. She just fires them in there. Wonder if that tree got in her way a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
All right, this is like my nerviest range. Like, you should make it. You really should, but
you can see the wind really taking control of Hokom's disc. She's not the spinniest putter. She definitely has done lots of work to get that spin, but in this type of wind, you have to be almost a natural spin putter to take advantage.
Yeah, definitely. That one tried to bounce out right there.
What's nice about the Beast is you play the way they have the holes set up. You play the first 3 holes out in the open, and then you immediately jump into the woods. So it's you get a little stress at the beginning.
Yeah, that was a good par by Rebecca. All right, hole 3, the last hole before the woods. It's 320 feet. Not really a ton of OB on this one, which is nice, but you got to really pick your gap. There is a forehand gap to the left, or you're kind of throwing a hyzer and trying to skip up the hill to an elevated pin.
Even though it's 320 feet, it plays longer
It
than that.
really does. More
It's-
like 350.
Yeah, it's uphill, and you still have that headwind right in your line. So I still haven't quite figured out how to reach this hole, but we'll definitely see Hailey and Rebecca.
Like that.
Wow, getting inside the circle,
It's like
that's
that.
awesome.
I do think you have to push it wide and then try to skip up the hill. If you throw right at it, you end up kind of skipping left of the basket if you're a righty backhand.
There's a couple of classic fairway trees that are right in your line. We saw Rebecca take both of those completely out of play. Lydia playing with the right one.
That's close.
I would say that is the most common tree to hit on this hole as a right-hand backhand player.
I wish there was a lefty on the card. I got to play with a lefty, and it's a great sidearm and lefty course, which isn't necessarily the norm. I think we'll see Hokom take kind of that sidearm route to the left, though.
Hailey with the same problem as the last hole, leaving her disc a little nose up, letting the wind take it where it sees fit, and that is usually the trees.
Ooh, backhand. That is surprising to me.
Looking
And
super
lacing
clean.
it. Yeah. Just a bit short, but
I know Sarah said at the Las Vegas Challenge she threw a lot more backhands than she's ever thrown. You guys all know she's been trying to incorporate that in her game more often, and she said she's feeling more comfortable than ever.
yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. Hailey leaving herself a bit of a tester for that par. That looks like a P1. And just grip lock in a little bit. Leaving it in circle 2.
I'm surprised that this played as the 6th most difficult hole on the course. I would have thought it would have been on the lower end, but it is kind of it's not quite a 3.5, but it's definitely a 3 that's, in my opinion, hard for a lot of the field to get with that uphill and the headwind. It averaged at a 3.4.
Oh, do it. Oh, it's a good bit in the wind.
No birdies on the day on the field.
Did you see that party boat?
Yes, I was dreaming about the party boat the whole round.
Yep, good clean putt from Hailey for that par. I didn't notice that said hit here.
For charity.
For charity.
This is Rebecca for bird. Leaving it a little bit low. Sorry about the spoiler.
Well, I mean, she didn't hit it for charity. She hit the cage, so I wonder if that counts.
Really loving these camera shots.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome up close.
Couple pars for Hailey and Hokom, couple bogeys for Rebecca and Lydia. On to the woods.
Hole 4 is one of the most intimidating holes on the course. It's 441 feet, but it zigzags like a snake all the way down. There's a million trees. It is a very tight fairway. It plays every bit of 441 feet and as a par 4 because you're going to usually have to throw 4 shots to get there unless one of your shots is magical. If you mess up, you mess up hard and you have to pitch out more often than not. The basket is perched on the edge of a hill right on the river. The water definitely comes in play. And let's see how Rebecca attacks this hole.
Pretty common to throw a putter or a low-speed disc and just try to be in the center, and that's a decent shot. She'll have, like a sidearm or a turnover look. At that position, you're really just playing for a par, which is a great score. I mean, honestly, a 5 almost feels like a par on this hole.
It does.
Hailey, I wonder if that's like maybe a zone or something. It looked really stable.
Finds the gap, no problem. Misses that early left tree that seems to find a lot of the right-hand backhands. Hokom throwing a turnover, trying to get her forehand to turn over, but she hits that fairway tree that so many people in the field, I'm sure, have found.
Mm-hmm. This looks like that same, I think, P1 that she threw on her upshot last hole. And that looks beautiful.
Yeah, working the skip.
A little bit on the edge. She'll have to kind of lean out, maybe throw a sidearm. All right, so now it's like almost a 90-degree angle to the right to get to the basket. So it can be a tough angle to hit because you end up pushing too far straight. The branches didn't hurt her too bad. She should be left with a pretty doable upshot.
That tree out in the middle of the fairway is just outside circle 2. If you want to get past that to that next big tree that Hailey just hit, which is right on the edge of circle 1. So she'll be right somewhere in circle 2 land.
That was almost perfect.
With kind of a death putt.
This is so common, too, to be just like a little bit in the woods and have to throw a tricky little sidearm. Ooh, goes inside gap.
That was beautiful.
Just a little bit caught up. But still, I mean, they're honestly playing this really well. You're happy for a 4 here. Ooh, flippy boy.
Oh, God,
Oh, my goodness.
I love watching Rebecca play backhand in the woods.
That was awesome.
That was amazing.
I wonder what that was. I know she throws a tersus, but I think that was something different. Something real flippy.
This played as the first most difficult hole on the course. You can see all the trees and bushes, and you can understand why. It averaged at 4.8, not quite a 5, which is what I would have more expected. Lots of bogeys on the day. 60% of the field with a bogey or worse.
I mean, what we're not seeing, luckily, at this moment, is if you get into these woods at any point, I mean, it's almost an automatic pitch out. It's thicker in there than it looks. If you take a bad kick and you're 10 feet in there, I mean, ouch.
Rebecca opting just to pitch up. She says no death putting for me today.
Yeah, that hill that leads to the water is like 2 feet behind the basket.
Hokom still running at it confidently. Love to see that.
It's nice. A little bit of a straddle hyzer putt, it looks like.
Only 2 birdies on the day. Both were on my card. I'm going to brag for a second. Casey Pennington had an awesome, probably 80 or 100 foot throw-in and hyzer putter shot, and I just threw the best drive of my life. So it was awesome.
No big deal.
No big deal.
It's an amazing throw. I can't. I'm trying to imagine it, and I can't do it.
I don't think I'll ever do it again. There you go, Lydia. A little bit of a death putt, but still super confident.
Man, Annie throw-in, huh?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
I could have gone the river so easy.
Yeah, if it had missed
so
the basket,
awesome.
It was probably 10 feet into the river.
Rebecca with a nice, easy par. She played it pretty much how you're supposed to. Just, gentle shots in the middle. Keeping the stress levels low. Monitoring that blood pressure.
Hailey with the 5. It really does. It doesn't feel great, of course, because you're taking a bogey, but it doesn't feel terrible because some high scores can come.
Yeah, and you know that you're not really losing much to the field, All right, leaderboard. Kona shredding at a -2. Jessica Weiss, Holly Finley also under par. Got a slew of peeps at even. Anything right around par, and particularly under par, you are so stoked with. I'm excited to see how this plays out. All right, hole 5 is definitely birdieable. It's only 264 feet. No actual OB, just natural OB in the woods. It's uphill. There's more room on the left. I would say your error should be to the left. The right gets really thick. If you can get anywhere up on this hill and putting, you're really happy with your drive. Common mistakes, I think, are to try to turn it over too early and end up on that right side.
Rebecca throwing a nice little hyzer shot, definitely working that open left side, like Erika said, catching a tree and kicking back to the right, but she'll have an easy up and down to the pin.
I think she's on the edge. Hailey, that kind of looked like a fair... No? Oh, never mind. Wow.
Really attacking the green, paying off. She goes deep of the basket, almost towards the next tee pad.
Excellent shot. Pretty close, just a little too turned, but right in the middle.
This is a great forehand hole. I know Hokom really wanted to capitalize on that. Tickles those branches on the left. I don't know if she'll have a putt.
Yeah. I mean, every hole on this course is so hard. So the ones under 300, I mean, you are dying to get them.
You're hungry.
Wow, good attitude, though.
I've never played with Lydia. I'm super excited to watch her play. I wish I could give more information on her game. I know she's from Illinois, but other than that, I am learning as much as you guys are.
Yeah, I played with her back when we were both unsponsored, so I haven't seen her throw any of the Prodigy plastic that she's throwing right now. But I mean, her game looks good. A little deep.
Sometimes I noticed on my card as well, on these upshots when you land down deeper in the fairway, it's so easy to accidentally overthrow your upshot. We just watched Lydia and Hokom both do the same thing. You're really trying to compensate for the hill, and it once it gets up there, it's super skippy, and you just end up past.
You can just see how Rebecca's moved so much when it hit the ground, and she should be right by the basket, but instead she skibbled away.
Nice looking straddle putt from Lydia from the woods. Lots of those will be happening today.
Yeah.
This whole average just over par. Only 5 birdies on the day. I'm very surprised by that. But again, it's early in the round. Everyone's just kind of trying to shake the rust off.
This is one of those holes that I feel like you nail in practice, and it's like, oh yeah, I got this one for birdie. And then you step up to it, and it's like, oh man, this looks a little tight.
And then hole 4 humbles you.
Yeah.
And then you have to come here and try to throw an easy birdie shot. Rebecca for par from, looks like about 20 feet. There we go. Lydia taking another bogey. But in the woods, it's going to happen.
Our warehouse manager Dylan is on vacation this week, so we decided to bring Heather in to keep things running at a high level. She's already had a huge impact on our crew, and overall, they've embraced the changes surprisingly well. We're really happy with how Heather is doing in this new leadership role.
Hole 6, it is a par 3. It's one of the shorter holes on the course. It's 267 feet, but it's downhill when you get about halfway up the fairway. It carries directly towards the green that's down here in these beautiful little Waco woods. It's a sidearm hole, but we might see Rebecca try to throw a backhand turn over here. I would call this a hole that a birdie hole that you want to get. It's still tough though. If you trickle to the left, there's a lot of trouble over there, and it's where you have a tendency to want to error because the right is so gnarly. Hailey catches that early tree on the left, but filters out into almost the middle of the fairway.
Man, I want to know what this one is. That was
almost
close.
That was almost so perfect.
It's hard to hit this line. You kind of have to push the backhand straighter than you want. Like, you want to turn it over immediately, but then you find the right side. I think if that was lower, she would have had it. Hokom licking her chops here.
Surprisingly gets over on it. What you can't see is there's a left to right crosswind when you get down right when the hill crest, and it really does affect your disc halfway up the fairway. You can almost sometimes see your disc do a little bounce. So these players are trying to not let their underside of their disc be shown too much on that part of the fairway. Lydia early releasing. Yeah, that's normal in the woods out here, especially when the right side is so gnarly.
Wow, all right.
Easy up and down. No big deal. She's like,
she knows she got away with it a little bit. Tough little shot here. Kind of blocked by those tiny branches.
Kind of looks to me like a PA4. I can't quite tell, but that would be it looks like a putter approach.
Yeah, it's thrown with too much Anheuser and rolled to circle 2. I'm giving it a look. Easy par. Rebecca's killing it with this sleeveless, like, collared tank top look. I want to do it, but I know she looks better than I would.
No problem. Easy par for Rebecca.
Do it.
Just under a quarter of the field with a birdie on this hole, and surprisingly just over a quarter of the field with a bogey or worse. I think that's the case for a lot of holes out here at the Beast. Really anything can happen. The rough is so rough that if you kick into the woods or even just filter a little bit into the woods, it can change the whole game plan. Couple easy pars.
Couple easy bogeys, too.
Couple easy bogeys.
They're easier to get than you want. All right, hole 7. It is a par 4, 429 feet. You're just throwing a backhand hyzer out the gap. I suppose you could throw a turnover sidearm too to get way up there and maybe get like a crazy eagle look. But anywhere in this grassy field is great, and then you got to shoot the gap, and then this kind of, I don't know, dirt,
Gully?
I guess. Yeah, I was going to say around the green is really skippy, and it's hard to keep it close to the basket. And even in the gully's not that bad. You have a look. This is a little wide from Hailey.
But she makes the Mando, gets out into the field. She'll have a look for a bird.
I think that looks like an anchor, which is a pretty stable mid-range. Yep, nice and stable.
That's kind of the safe play here, is just trying to chuck something overstable around past the Mando tree and letting it filter out to the left in whatever way it can.
There we go, turnover, not quite enough.
Kind of a scary sidearm hole. I'm surprised Hokom's not kind of forcing it over a little bit more than that. But you know how she throws with their very technical hyzer flip. Lydia barely makes it out the woods, but she will still have a pretty easy approach. It'll be a driver approach, which makes it a little scarier, but definitely doable.
All right, we got a Bushnell upshot to the basket showing 282 feet through the gap here, and this is gorgeous.
Wow.
It just needs to stick.
Wow.
Which it, okay, all right. Whew.
That was beautiful.
Hokom looks like she actually does have a look at it, which I didn't think she would. And a little tight to the right side, and that is dense over there. She might have to pitch out. Dense.
This is
The drama. This looks good too. Go in, maybe.
making this shot look easy. It's not easy. Although I say that, but this is one of the first holes that we've been to that averaged under par.
So maybe it is easy.
It is barely under par, but it is under par. 40% of the field getting their birdie. Filtering through the branches. She'll land on the staircase. She'll have a look at a putt. It'll be very steeply uphill.
All right. Hokom's got a bit of a gap, maybe. Maybe.
She found a gap, we'll say that.
She gave it her all, for sure. These are kind of weird putts from these little steps. Rebecca having to straddle. Nails it.
There we go.
Nice bird. Gets her under par. She's playing a clean round so far.
Hailey with the tap in.
I really want to make like a where's Hailey joke, like a where's Waldo. Her shirt's not quite the right color though.
I'm never going to be able to unsee that now.
That's all I see. Like I've had to refrain until now, and I just couldn't let it go anymore.
Even with Hokom kind of spraying off the tee pad and on the approach, she still manages to save her par and get on to the next hole.
Okay, hole 8. Another short one. This is a good putter backhand shot or a good forehand shot, just pushing it straight off the tee, only 213 feet. It did average a little over par because, again, you hit a tree and you find some rough, or if you miss your putt, it is a bit of a death putt if you end up on the left side, and then you end up having to go downhill, and that's almost an automatic bogey.
Yeah,
this looks beautiful.
It's perfect.
Oh, God.
Coming in fast.
Too strong.
This basket is perched up on the edge of a very steep hill.
Yeah, Hailey's gonna have to putt straight uphill coming back.
And the green is very fast. It feels like you do want to play something skippy. I mean, we know Rebecca won't do that because she throws really excellent floaty backhands.
Yeah, this is so touchy. I am gonna ask her what this red one is.
That is amazing.
That's so good.
That's such a hard shot, and she makes it look so easy. It's such a tight fairway.
You know, I should say this because usually we try to be prepared with disc lists, but we asked all the wrong people on the other feature card for their disc list, so we're just like really guessing today, so apologize for that.
Normally we do like to be more prepared. Lydia catches early, gives us a little sad face. We feel your pain. Hokom catches the tree on the right-hand side, you know she's
More of a
starting
frustrated face.
Yeah, she's starting to get a little upset with the fact that she can't find these sidearm routes as well as she probably has in practice. If you're a little bit off at the beast, it is going to highlight your errors.
So that is probably just outside the circle, and she'll have that scary death putt, and it's going to be decision time for Lydia. Hokom, 68 feet, got a nice look, and hopefully that's that close.
Even being in the woods, that was a really excellent bid.
Mm-hmm.
Lydia for 3.
Good safe run.
You're always kind of hoping and praying that your disc lays down here too, because if it kicks up at all, it will roll down this big hill.
Yeah, Hailey not left with much there.
Rebecca for her birdie.
Settle.
High right on the hyzer putt. It's what you want. It's the miss you want to make, but not this time. We will not see any birdies on this hole. Surprisingly, only 4 birdies on the day.
Oh, that is surprising.
That's shocking.
Lydia with the bogey, everybody else with pars. Alright, here we are on hole 9, looking at the discbarn.com drone cam. Wrapping up the final 9 with our first par 5 of the day. There are 2. You're trying to lace it up this gap, trying to get past these 2 fairway trees. If you can trickle into this gully, that is the perfect shot. You're trying to stay a little bit more left going through this gap, so you have an open look at the pin, which is up and to the right. This one, I feel like if you throw the 2 best shots of your life is eagleable, but also it's like 7able if you are off early, snowmanable if you will. Like this is gonna be rough.
It's going to be rough. That first tree on the right is the tree that you want to avoid. There's 2 more fairway trees on the left that I think are going to be hit fairly often, but Hailey hit the one tree that you really want to avoid.
And I like this from Rebecca. It's,
Oh
that
my
is so
gosh.
punishing. I was going to say it looked like a deputy, so it shouldn't jump into the woods, but okay.
It hit a trampoline.
I think it was a good game plan, and she was punished a bit on her early release. All right. Come on, Hokom. Let's get a
Love the
just
sidearm.
laced. Ooh, yeah. Come on.
Yeah, the sidearm route is awesome on this hole if you can avoid those 2 trees. Hokom comes up a bit short of them, but she'll still have a nice look for getting a 4 on the hole.
Yeah, 4 feels great here. Those fairway trees are pretty punishing. You feel like you hit the line and then you still hit a tree.
Yep.
This white one I think is a PA3 that she's been throwing all day, and that is gorgeous.
That is gorgeous. Playing the skip, taking advantage of those dirt fairways out here at the Beast. Rebecca, you can see she's even though she, barely hit off the fairway on the ground, she's still so deep in there. Hailey, on the other hand, she sailed off the fairway, but has about the same shot as Rebecca.
Yep, just both of them having to pitch out. This is a great sidearm shot. Let's see.
Goes a little early to the right. I think
Yeah.
she's going to be pinned up.
Yeah, Hailey will just have to try to play for her par at this point.
Like Erika said, on this second shot, you really want to try to land towards the left side of the fairway or towards the far side of the fairway. Rebecca does just
Close.
that, but trickles into the woods. She'll still have a sidearm step-out approach. I don't know how comfortable she feels with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she's thrown a sidearm yet today, has she?
No,
All
which is
backhands.
it's so surprising out here because I feel like this is such a sidearm-friendly course.
Yeah, you can definitely do well out here with your sidearm.
Especially, it's really nice to not have to take your eyes off these skinny little fairways when you're throwing your shots. Super technical little pitch forehand from Lydia. That looks great.
Yeah, on that left side, a little bit more open look at the pin there. This is going to be tough on this right side. It's just like a really tight angle, and that's about as good as you can do it. She's somewhere in circle 2.
She will not have a look at the basket from there. I'm speaking from experience. It'll be a really tough putt. Rebecca throwing Is it her first sidearm of the day?
I think so.
Making it look easy.
Ooh, what's this red one that she throws? What is it? It's such a cool stamp, but I don't know.
It has a tournament stamp on, I think. What a great little technical forehand from Rebecca.
Yeah, she'll have a tester, but she's up there.
Lydia trickled into the woods a little more than I thought she did. She
Yeah.
had to pitch out, but towards the pin.
Bummer. So it looks like she'll probably end up with a par. Hokom. Oh, very nice.
High five.
Was that her third? And she should have a nice easy birdie then.
So hole 9, I would have expected to be a little more difficult, but it's only the 10th most difficult hole of the day. It averaged only a quarter of a stroke over the par 5. 30% of the field getting birdies.
I mean, I kind of like that they're calling it a par 5 for us because it's a par 4 for the men.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of a softer par for us.
Just a bit, but like, I don't know, it feels nice.
It does feel
You know?
A birdie is attainable.
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an eagle on this
that's what I
hole.
mean. Like, even an eagle's attainable. Not, ooh, that is a great par save.
After that awesome forehand approach.
Woo! Great straddle.
Yes, Rebecca, looking strong.
Man, that's such a good scramble to get out of the, have to pitch out of the woods, but still get your par.
Hailey catching the top of the basket. I think that was for bogey.
Oh man, Lydia's finding some spots. Good putt though. Great par.
Hailey for double. Finally finding the chains. It's crazy how many strokes can find their way to that green. I mean, it's tough.
I just think anywhere out here, mistakes can compound faster than a lot of courses. And that is such a good birdie from Hokom. Thank you for joining us on this front 9. Thanks GK Pro for the awesome footage. It's been a fun one. I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
And I'm Madison Walker, and we'll see you guys on the back 9 at the Beast.